So I'm going to start building my file system now, and it's like when you start a project like this is actually what I would call an epic story. There's a lot going on in such a file system, so it's kind of mind-blowing, right? Where should I start? Now I think the best way to start is kind of just sit down with your friends or developers or whatever you want to work with and just have a look right here. How should the file system look? And that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to just sit down and have a general idea about how my file system should look in the actual UI, the actual front end, and what should the user experience be? How should I use this file system? What's the flow, right? So what I'm going to start out with doing is just making this simple mockup. I just grabbed a bit of information from Firestore, I grabbed a bit of information or images from Dropbox, and I tried to put them inside this very basic mockup right here. That's a good place to start. And then I have a look, what kind of components can I break this into? And notice right here, I have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 different components that I can use right here. Now I'm just going to try and explain each component to you, and then next lesson we're going to start building them one by one. Now the first one I want to talk about is the file details. Now this component is going to be the component in some kind of file system like mine when you press a single file. So if I pressed, the small icon here shows that this is a file. If I press the file right here, it would actually show the details of the file. Now if you're used to Mac, you know that's how you do in Finder anyway, the file system for Mac. So I just love that idea. So I want it in the web browser as well, right? So this is kind of the idea that when I click this guy, I'll get a file details view, something like this. It's just a rough sketch, we'll make it different, but that's kind of one component that I need. So I'm going to need a file details component. Sweet, what else do I need? Well, I'm going to need a file folder component, maybe, I'm kind of considering that. And that component knows that if I have a list of folders, always place those first in the top and then place the list of files below them and maybe sort them and do stuff like that. So that'll be kind of a component that just represents files and folders, nothing else. And then they give me the access point to kind of go to the details if I want to later and stuff like that. So that's another component, a files and folder component. Maybe we'll make it inside a column directly. I'll figure that out later. The other thing I need is column component, because I want to be able to, when I click a folder or a file, I want to open a new column, right? And when I go back, I want to kind of hide the column. So I need this column component. Here's a column component, and here's another one, and here's another one. And I just put in these lines right here to kind of indicate that this is a column, right? So that's another component I need. So now we have 3 different components that we need to create one by one. The last one is a container. So I want a container component that can give me the full overview, a small breadcrumb trail, maybe some headlines, maybe a way for me to drop files. Maybe that'll be put in here, I don't know quite yet. But I also need some kind of container component to wrap it all together, right? But notice right here, I've just split this into multiple small components, and that's a lot easier to start doing. That's a lot easier to start working with. So I kind of encourage you guys, if you have a bigger component, try to split it down into smaller components. And right now it's actually a module that I'm trying to break down. But that's what we're going to build, guys. So just prepare yourself. We're going to start building this slowly, step by step, in the next couple of lessons. And as we start needing information, we'll just start extending and making a file system service where we can start grabbing these files from our beautiful Firestore setup. So that's it for this lesson. See you next time where we'll start making some code. Have fun.